Hello, everybody. I'm Lupe Soto, and I'm the president of the Women's Poker Association. And we're really excited today to bring you a very special guest, a friend of mine, and somebody I have admired in the poker industry for quite a while. And she's done leaps and bounds in her poker skills from the time that I met her many years ago to where she is now. Katie Stone is our special guest today, and she is an online poker pro. She does play live as well, but she's a mom and she has followed the online market, including leaving the United States when Black Friday hit the poker world and played professionally in another country. And when poker became legal again in the United States in certain states, she returned to be able to play again and raise her family here in the United States. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and give Katie the reins, and she's going to do a presentation with us, and then she'll do question and answers with everybody. So Katie, you got it.
Thank you very much, Lupe. Do you know that actually my very first live poker tournament was your tournament?
A Lips tournament?
Yep. It was.
No, I had no idea. My gosh, when was that?
This was like, oh gosh.
Like 2004 or something, huh?
It was probably 2006.
Okay. Wow.
And it was in, I'm pretty sure it was in Tunica.
Wow.
And that was my first live tour, and that's when we first met.
I'm going to kind of like take a little credit for you then. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
No, and I very much so remember my meeting with you because it was like late at night. It was after the tournament, and it was like in the lobby. There was like a little sitting area in the lobby, and there was just like a group of like 7 or 8 ladies, and we were just chatting, and it was like, everybody was really tired, but it was just, it was a good, I consider myself lucky that was my introduction to live poker, because that's not how nice it always is.
Isn't that the truth? That's the truth.
No?
Well, if I'm going to steal a little bit of your time, and I'm going to tell you that one of the biggest blessings I have in life is these kinds of stories, is because there are so many people who have grown and created such amazing friendships through this little organization that was just a little whim thing that got together and kind of took, had some legs on it, and those kinds of things warm my heart. And I know that there are people who have not only become friends in poker, but lifelong friends, and to the point of that they travel together, they're neighbors, and they take care of each other's kids, and you got it, so it's very special. I really appreciate you sharing that story.
I kept forgetting to tell you about that too, but it's just so hard, like we're, just summers and traveling and stuff, but I wanted to tell you that in person because it wasn't something like I could just randomly like message you on Facebook about me, like, oh, by the way, this random memory from 15 years ago just popped up into my head.
That's awesome.
Yeah, but okay. So yeah, I mean, basically the reason that we're doing this today is because I like Lupe said, I'm a full-time poker player. I play mostly online for a living. And I do play live. I would say my split is probably 80-20, so 80% online, 20% live. And the times that I do play live are when we have like big series going on here in New Jersey. So I happen to live about 5 minutes from the Borgata, where I am also a sponsored pro for BorgataPoker.com. So and the Borgata is very, very active in their live tournament series. There's generally a live series running, probably on average every 6 to 7 weeks. There's something going on. So it could be, a very small, 5-day series of like $100 to $200 events, or it could be like a 10-day series with like, a big $600, $500K guarantee or something like that. So I'm lucky that I live in this area because I'm also not too far from like other casinos that have other series, but Borgata just has so much going on live, and I generally prefer to stay online, and I'll get into those reasons in a few minutes, but I definitely do prefer online. And as I've gone throughout the course of my career, I really have just, I've kind of run the full spectrum. Like I started out a live player in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, which is where I was in college, and that's where I discovered poker, in Dallas. And I started out live, and then I went online, and then I went back live, and then I went back online. So I've definitely experienced the ups and downs of both games. And I just think in particular for women who are either wanting to learn about poker in general, or, not exactly specifically online poker, but just learning about poker in general just has its challenges being a woman, right? I mean, we have like a lot going on. And, my household in particular is extremely busy because my husband and I both play full-time online. We have a 3-year-old son. And so between, preschool and the nanny and live tournaments and traveling and Vegas trips and, nightly online grinds, it's a very, very chaotic life. And, we don't even have like soccer and baseball and, birthday parties and any of that stuff. So, online is just such an easier way to experience and learn the game, more so than, going out to a live casino, not even talking about the other just economic and social challenges and barriers that might present themselves, for live poker. It's much more expensive. You have to deal with cigarette smoke and people, whatever. I'm not a fan of casinos. People laugh when they hear me say that, but I'm just not. Like smoke makes your skin get wrinkly and makes your hair stink. And it's like, I don't enjoy having to bring sunscreen lotion with me to a casino to like wash my face and lotion it because it's just so gross. I'd much rather stay at home and, learn this game in my pajamas, or, play my session, very comfortably in the comfort of my own home. So as I've gone throughout my career, this is, and at this point in my life, now I'm a mother, I'm a full-time player. This is where, for me in particular, is where I prefer to be. I prefer to be online. And, there's other reasons for that too. And so that's kind of what, when I was talking to you, Lupe, about doing this, I think a lot of women just kind of don't, when they think of learning how to play poker, they kind of just automatically think, oh, I don't want to go to a casino. And like, I totally don't blame them for that, because it's like, they don't want to drive, or it's annoying, traffic, pay for parking, whatever. And so I think for some reason, a lot of women just don't automatically consider trying online. And I don't know why that is. I'm not really sure, like, I don't know. I don't know if it's like maybe some sort of like slight distrust, or if it's just a pure lack of knowledge. Like, have you ever like talked to women, and like, have they ever like, kind of, oh wait, I have to unmute you. Sorry. Hang on. Let's see.
Okay. I'm good. I'm good.
Yeah. Like, what has I'm interested in what your experience has been like when you're talking to women who are, wanting to learn the game. Why do you think they kind of gravitate towards like live versus online?
Well, I think that it's actually not so much that it's live versus online. I think that, I got to dial it back a little bit. Before Black Friday, we had the largest ladies organization online with this silly little group called Poker Chicks, but that started in 2000. Yeah, in 2000. And it was just a group of people who would play, in Planet Poker and all over the place. But they were women together. We had such an eclectic group of women, and it was women from all over the place, all around the world, and also all walks of life. But there are still, to this day, I have very close friends from that group that have still been playing poker, but they don't play live. They don't want to go to a live casino. But then there's that other group that used it as a stepping stone, where they qualified for something, or they really got the poker bug, and then they moved from, almost the television screen, because World Poker Tour became a TV thing. There was success there for just Joe Nobody, Chris Moneymaker. He was able to satellite in, going through that. And I think that had Chris Moneymaker never done that, I don't know if we would have experienced what we have experienced in poker, just because he was the average Joe, or I call it the average Jane. So I think that there are women too that also felt like, well, heck, if this Joe can do it, I can do it too. And then there was opportunities for satelliting into live experiences through online poker. Right. Now, fast forward to today, a lot of women in the United States play, but they play on free poker sites because we're limited. There's only, the states over, was it New Jersey, Delaware,
Nevada.
Oh yeah, and us, Nevada. Okay. But so the pool of players has gotten very, very small in comparison to what it used to be. Yeah. Now, if you look at online poker and women in other parts of the world, it's huge. They still play, they're doing very, very well, continuing to satellite, et cetera. But women today, I think, for those that don't live in places like Nevada or, in New Jersey, and if they're entering the poker world through online poker and through like the subscription sites or like the free part of different places like PokerStars, Lips has a Monday night purely for bragging rights game that's played on the PokerStars home site, and there's like 100 women that play every Monday night, and that's telltale. A lot of these women don't have casinos that are close to them, or the convenience of being able to just go home and click and let's play, and have the camaraderie that a lot of us women enjoy. But I think what was my point? My point was this: those women who are playing the subscription sites and the free play sites, we aren't seeing them really in the casinos. It's the growth of the amount or the volume of women that had entered before, when we had online qualifiers and just a lot more buzz around poker. It has just really decreased, So now what we have to do is literally create experiences that will expose women to coming from no poker to an online experience, at least in their home, to where they can get comfortable with clicking and looking how blinds go and all that stuff, and then transitioning over to live play. So I know that was a really long answer to your very short question. I'm so sorry, but that's exactly what's happening.
Yeah, I mean, it's a challenge, for everybody to address. And it's finding those new players, and like you said, if you don't live in New Jersey, Nevada, or Delaware, your options are really limited, and that's that kind of sucks, because like everybody remembers what happened, on Black Friday. Everybody remembers what happened with Absolute, and I definitely think that there is somewhat of a little bit more, also of a trust issue too, because for how many years, everybody was told how bad unregulated poker was, and the government shut them down, and it was this massive ordeal. People lost money, money was stolen, money had to be refunded. And now it's a huge shift into, okay, but now it's okay, now it's regulated. But I think people still have a bad taste in their mouth a little bit, just from when I talk to, when I'm at Borgata and I'm, sitting in some random $200 or $300 tournament, a lot of times half the table doesn't even know that you can play online poker in New Jersey. Mm-hmm. And they're just oh, I thought that was illegal. I thought that they, whatever, some years ago, wasn't there that big scandal? And that's what unfortunately sticks in people's minds, and I think that, like, you know, with my experiences, you know, going through the ranks, so to speak, you know, like starting out playing, like when I started playing online poker full time in like beginning of '09, I was playing like between like $4 and like $11 tournaments. And that was all I played, you know, because I was just learning how to play. Live and online is very different, you know, and I distinctly remember, and this is kind of just like getting into, you know, some of the reasons that I feel that, you know, playing online is more beneficial than, you know, just playing live. I can remember like very distinctly, you know, like being at Borgata in like 2009 and seeing this like kid, like this 21 or 22-year-old kid, and he's like surrounded by this like 21 or 22-year-old like entourage of kids, you know, and they're just like very like, you know, typical like whatever, they're like very into poker, you know, they're very like obviously they think very highly of themselves, you know, and so like I somehow like found out like who it was, and it was I knew the name because they were like, you know, very high. I think it was like number one at that point, you know, online player. And I just remember thinking and having such like a disrespect for them. Like those online kids, they don't know what the heck they're doing. Like they're just so crazy. They're so bad. And that was like my initial reaction because I didn't understand what they were doing. And I look back on that and really I'm just like, how was that my reaction? Like my reaction definitely should not have been dislike or distrust for what they were doing. It should have been more of a curiosity. But at the time, I was just learning how to play online poker and I wasn't profitable. So I was probably like a little jealous too. You know, like, why is this kid out there? You know, how is this kid out there winning? And like, you know, I'm smart. I know how to play poker. Why can't I win? You know? And it's kind of funny that just a total side note, that the kid who, you know, I was like, you know, envious of / you know, hateful towards, he ended up living in the same building with my husband and I in Mexico. We ended up becoming really good friends with him.
Oh. Who was it? Okay, name drop. We want to know.
No, I don't think it's his name is Bobby Deppy. He's an online player. He's actually still there. He just had a baby actually in Mexico. His there. Married a girl and had a baby out there. Yeah.
That's awesome.
But Little Kraut was his online name. But yeah, I think he was like number one in the world at that point. But
crazy.
But it's just funny because, you know, like that's just kind of an example of how my understanding is just kind of gone like, you know, from literally point A to point Z. And obviously now I'm much more understanding the fact that the online players at that point, you know, and now obviously did have a much better and deeper understanding of the game than, you know, somebody who's just playing live. So.
Okay, I'm going to pick on you. Why do you say that? Why do you say that?
Say what?
That an online player has a deeper understanding than a live player, or somebody that only plays live.
Yeah, well, I mean, you can, there's a lot of reasons why that statement is true, but one reason, I mean, there's certainly very, very, very talented live players who have never played online. That absolutely exists, and taking nothing away from their brilliance. Like they can be absolutely brilliant purely based in live. That's very, very rare though. I can answer it with a million different reasons, but the main reason is just volume. Just the volume. Mm-hmm. You know, I mean, the amount of hands, like if I'm playing like a full schedule every night, you know, let's say I'm playing 15 tournaments a night here in New Jersey, you know, even in a week, I'll see more hands than like, you know, somebody I'll see the next weekend in a poker tournament who's seen like their entire life. You know, like that's kind of the difference in volume, you know, because think about how slow live poker is. I mean, this is a reason why the tournaments are changing to big blind ante right now too, is because it speeds up the game, because players want to see more hands, they want more playability. Live poker is very slow. Very.
Imagine playing mixed games. I'm a
I
mixed game player.
know. Yeah, I'm sure you guys
Literally watch paint dry.
you guys play like probably a round every half hour or something. Like, yeah, no, I can't do that. Like, if you see me in the live poker room, most of the time I will be standing because I cannot like sit and play one table and I have to stand or be moving or, I'm a fidgeter. But that's the thing. It's volume. I mean, it's simply, live poker is very slow and it's very expensive. And if you are trying to learn and get repetition in with no mistakes, there's no dealer mistakes in online poker, right? There's no, nobody forgets to put their ante out and then somebody takes the ante and then the dealer says they didn't take it, but then you really did. There's no change errors or anything like that. And these things all take up time, right? That's kind of the issue. That's kind of the reason why switching to the big blind ante is such a great thing, because it reduces the amount of player and dealer errors and it takes way less time. And, as players have been progressing in the game and as people have become smarter with their money, they also want to play in better structured tournaments and they want to get the most for their money, right? So they want more hands, they want more chips. That's this is another trend currently in online poker. I'm not sure if it's going to make the switch to live. Gosh, that would be kind of alarming, but the online starting stacks in poker are going up. So like, for example, a typical nightly tournament, like for example, we have on BorgataPoker.com, it's like $100 re-entry, 10K guarantee. The starting stack used to be 10K, now it's 50K, 50K.
Wow.
And the structures have changed a little bit too, but this is the trend. This is the direction that ROW, rest of world, is going as well. Starting stacks are increasing because you're attempting to attract a broader portion of the market. And broader portion of the market are the recreational players and the amateurs. So this is what they want. They want more playability. So they're getting smarter, which is good. That's your largest group of players, right? Is your largest group of players is not the professionals. Your largest group of players is the recreationals, right? So you have to do what the recreational players want because you need them to keep coming back to fund the prize pools and the reentries. So that's specifically one reason that Big Blind Ante is so great is because there's no mistakes and it's fast. But getting back to it's the same thing in online poker. There's no mistakes. You don't have to talk to anybody. You can try a variety of games. You can play 5 cent, 10 cent. You can play $20 sit and go. In live poker, these things just don't exist. If you want to play a live cash game, you're buying in for anywhere from $50 and some 1-2 games, maybe $200. And I can still remember my first time walking into the Borgata poker room. And it just, it was very big and it was full of men and I didn't see that many women. And it just, I can absolutely understand why that is something that a lot of people or a lot of women just aren't going to do after the first time, And so this is why, throughout my career and all my travels and everything, this is why I've just become such a strong proponent for getting women online and, encouraging their friends to try poker and starting it online too, because that really just has such a smaller barrier of entry. Does anybody have any specific questions about because I know everybody lives in different areas. I can see some of you. I can't see everybody.
There's a little you can either see them if they want to they can raise their hand, but also on the side there it says mute me, raise hand, that somebody can raise their hand that way too. So okay. Or you guys can just type a question in chat if you want to.
Oh, I think Valerie has a question.
So you have to unmute her.
Yeah. Okay.
Hey,
can you hear me?
Hey, yeah, I can hear you.
Hi, Katie. Hi, Lupo. Thanks for doing this, by the way. I live in New Jersey. I live in Jersey City, and I have been a low-stakes tournament grinder for on and off for about 3 years now. And my profession is I'm an occupational therapist. I work with kids part-time. So my question to you is, I really haven't seen that much improvement in the past. I mean, my bankroll has gone up and down. Maybe last year or about a year and a half ago, I was playing $100 rebuys on Stars. It totally obliterated my bankroll. Yeah. And and I knew about bankroll management, but I was enough of a winner that I wanted to take my shots, and it wasn't a very good idea. So right now I'm mostly playing anywhere between $5 and $30 rebuys on mostly WSOP.
Okay.
But my question to you is, I have a lot of trouble finding a clear path to improve with coaching. Like I have the means to pay for coaching, but I'm just a little apprehensive about that. And also, as a woman and middle-aged woman, it's very hard to, I think the younger guys, the younger kids sort of can get a network more easily than women can. And that's been my experience. And I don't know if it's because of my age or I'm isolated or I feel a little bit intimidated posting hand histories, etc. I don't want to be trolled. I'm too mature for that. So what would your first step suggestion for me be?
Have you, so you're currently playing like $5 to $30 rebuys on WSOP, just tournaments, right? No cash? No cash,
no. And the $30 rebuys I sat in if I because I realized I really I built up a big bankroll and I burned, I have about 50,000 in earnings online playing part-time but as you know, those earnings are not always your profit.
Sure.
So, and I agree with you 100%. I mean, online is the way to go. I feel like when I play live poker now, I don't know what I'm doing. I can't figure out the tips.
No, that definitely shouldn't be it. You should feel the opposite because...
Well, I feel like, counting everybody's, everything is there online. It's so easy to see where, and I have my push-fold ranges. I know when I'm pushing, when I'm,
Yeah.
In live poker now, that skill has gone because I live so far from a casino, and I do grind cash every once in a while at Sands, but it's usually a long trek for myself, by myself, and I'm coming back after an 8 or 9 hour session late at night, driving on the road. It's just not great, considering where I live,
Right. Yeah.
So there's a few barriers to actually build. I think, live 1-2 games are a way to build my bankroll better, but it's just with my work responsibilities home and then grinding online, it's not that easily accessible for me, So I know I had a few questions there. But.
Yeah, no, I think I think you're probably in the situation that a lot of people are in, and
right.
I was in, when I first started playing poker, I come from a chess background. And so my first, this is probably like 05, 06, when I decided that I was going to try to make poker my living.
Right.
My first reaction, because I had a chess coach, all growing up, my first reaction was, okay, I need a poker coach, because at that time there were poker books out, but there just wasn't, I don't know, there wasn't that big of a selection. There was like, Super System, which obviously was very good.
Had it
for a long time. But for me personally, I just felt like I was going to do better with a coach. And I just felt like because of the way I learned, I was going to do better with that. And also I had, quite a bit of experience working with coaches, growing up in chess. So I actually, which is kind of funny, I wanted a woman coach, and the only woman poker player I knew was the one I saw on TV, which was Jen Harmon. And so I actually emailed Jen Harmon in 2005 and asked her if she would teach me how to play poker, or like just,
It doesn't seem like the coaching type at all.
I feel really like, obviously I would have had no way of knowing this at the time, but like she emailed me back too. Like she emailed me back the same day or something. And she's like, thank you so much for, being interested. I'm so busy right now. I just really don't have time. And I was like, okay, that's great. And I was happy that she emailed me back. I didn't realize at the time until I read, a book later on. What was it? I forget, Suicide King, that book about about
right.
the
Yes, I've read it. Yeah, great book.
She was like playing at that same time. She's playing these like $100,000-$200,000 heads up matches while undergoing dialysis at the same time.
Crazy.
And like here I am like emailing her for coaching. I'm like asking her like, will you please teach me like what beats what, and like she's playing 100, 200K, and then I met her for like I had my first conversation with her actually just this past 4th of July. And I said, you're probably not going to remember this, but I emailed you about coaching in like 2005 and you messaged me back. And she's like, oh wow, I messaged you back. I don't do that anymore. I was like, okay.
Yeah. She just doesn't she seems like, she's an icon, of course, in poker world, but she just doesn't seem like the coaching type. And academically, I was always very good at study, but for some reason, I'm really, and there has to be leaks in my game, obviously, or my bankroll would be bigger, because the competition at that level, even for me on WSOP, there's basic strategy, but I should be beating the games better than what I am. And the other thing is the volume. Like I can't do any more than 4 tables. And I don't know if that is really a detriment to me, where I'm just not putting in enough volume. And, most of the games are later at night now because of Vegas. So by 10:30, I'm really exhausted. I'm not playing my best. Right. And how do you handle that kind of stuff? Like, especially having a young baby, and I have a dog, and,
Yeah. So let me finish answering your question about coaching and like what, like, so.
Okay, sorry.
So my point was that I had the same feeling that you did, was that my initial, how am I going to improve? My initial feeling was that yes, a coach would help me, a female coach would help me. That's definitely true for many women out there. However, there's also a lot of free content out there too. There's a ton of free content on YouTube. There's a ton of like a lot of the training sites out there. There's a few pretty good ones that have like introductory, like free month or free 2 weeks or something, so you can try them. And I think that training videos online are really, really good because they're very current.
Right.
And a lot of the time, most of the time they're filming, their online screen, right? So for you, somebody who's experienced in playing online, that could maybe be a good first resort for you. Instead of, putting money into training right this second, you could like look at some of the free content online, watch some of these because you're used to the screen, you're used to the speed of things, and you could, you know what I mean? And, you're used to the structures and everything like that. So I would just like, go on YouTube and like, and then, and you can research like different price points, for the different training sites. There's a few that are pretty good. There's a few that are not good. And you're more than welcome to message me privately for that kind of stuff for obvious reasons. But yeah, there's a ton of really good free content out there. So I would, and that's for anybody, I would definitely like take advantage of the free content out there. There's really good, like just very briefly on YouTube, there's a poker player. His name is Ben CB. That's like what? Ben CB, like BENC as in cat, B as in boy. And
yeah, I haven't heard of him.
has a ton of free content on YouTube, and it's just such amazing stuff. Like I try to watch it whenever I can. It's like definitely like it can get very dense and very, you know, like you really have to focus on it too. But just because he's such a smart guy, but maybe not good for like an absolute beginners, you know, kind of thing, but just something to kind of, at least it's a starting point for you to kind of see like, this is the kind of, do I want to learn this way or do I want to go another route? You know what I mean? And, you know, I definitely think that coaching is also really beneficial for women in particular, just because I think that they relate better. You know, I mean, you know, I could be very wrong, but I know that I do personally. So yeah, and if you have any questions about any of that, just feel free to message me or anything like that. But
thank you.
So your next question was about like, you're talking about like burnout kind of thing. Was that it? Or like schedule, like what, like?
Well, it's a little bit of both. Like, as I said, I work part-time. My other job is very demanding. I work with autistic kids. I do early intervention, but I'm really caught in between. I really want to pursue I mean, I have a great profession and people look at me like I have 5 heads. Like, what are you doing spending hours and hours every night playing online poker? And it's not every night. I mean, I do have to pace myself. Mental mindset. I realize I can't be in front of the screen. I don't know how people do it. So, and I see the same players over and over online, and I commend all of you because it's a very hard grind. It's not an easy thing to do. It's obvious to me. So, I mean, if I played 3 or 4 nights a week, I think that's a good formula for me. And do you play every night? Do you know people that are making money playing less of a dense schedule?
Yeah. I mean, well, first of all, let me just say right here that, like, you know, for those people like that are thinking like, oh, you're like, you're crazy, like you're playing online like 3 or 4 nights a week, you know, that kind of just, for me, like I get it, I get what they're saying, but that just blows my mind, you know, because like they just don't understand. Like it's one thing if you're like being really ridiculous with your bankroll and you're just like losing $1,000 a night and you're just punting it off and like you don't
happening.
like that's not what's happening. Like,
no,
I would think that for most female players that's like not what's happening. They're I think women are a little bit more risk averse than men. Yes. So they tend to just have better bankroll skills initially. They tend to maybe err on the side of being more conservative, which I am definitely, you know, in that camp. As are most of my female, you know, poker friends also, you know, we're all very, very conservative when it comes to that stuff. And so to me, it's like, you know, if you're spending a few nights a week playing online poker, all you're doing is you're learning another skill. You're investing in yourself. Mm-hmm. And those people aren't, because they just don't get it. Like they don't understand. And like, I feel bad for them because playing online poker is not like, and I wrote this on Facebook when I was sharing this event, like, yeah, you can study online poker and play online poker, but like your ROI will improve for sure. But there's so many other reasons why it's good. Like right there, like you're learning money management, you're learning bankroll management. It's teaching you about money. It's just reinforcing like really good concepts that you can use in, you know, your bill paying or your budgeting for whatever, your vacation or something like that. And it's such a like cerebral activity too, right? Like playing online poker, like you're just engaging so many senses and you're really thinking and you're focused. Whereas
extremely demanding online poker.
What else would you be doing? You might be doing something less productive with your time. You know, I mean, it's important to take time and to rest and to veg and like whatever, but you're keeping your brain and your mind sharp, you know, and as somebody like, you know, who is probably going to be doing this like a very long time, I think that's a really good thing because I think my brain will stay healthier because of how much I'm using it in that way. You see what I'm saying? So that right there, like, don't let anybody deter you from playing online because they think you're crazy or they think you're like gambling or whatever. You just know, and you know what you're doing and you understand, like, trust me, I understand what I'm doing. You know,
I just want to add to that real quick, if I might. You know, defending poker is something that every poker player has to do.
Yes.
because if you don't play poker, you don't get it. And there's people who spend countless hours on Candy Crush. And,
Right. Something
Right.
ridiculous.
You know, you're talking about things that are
I
just.
just got back from Florida, and my friend said to me, well, there's a casino. It's a small casino. They have a little. And I said, I really don't want to play. She goes, oh, I thought you were like addicted, that you had to.
Right.
I'm like, it's not like that. I'm playing
Yeah.
with a goal in mind.
Yeah.
I'm transitioning in my life. I'm at an age where what I do, my profession, is very physically demanding, and I'm not going to be able to do it for that much longer.
Don't you ever,
And,
ever
you
feel
know.
like you aren't doing what you should be doing, because this is a sport. I don't care what anybody says. This is something like you can be as recreational as you want in this game. You can be like me when it comes to like frickin' online. I don't have the concentration to sit in front of an online game. I know that about myself. I can do it if it's like 5 tables and under.
Well, that's me
Over an
also.
hour,
That's what I'm saying. I can't really. I mean, I have a setup. My husband set up.
I am
He's
so not that
very
person.
supportive of what I'm doing.
Yeah.
But I just feel like I'm not progressing. You know,
Right.
I'm not losing, but I'm not. You know, I'm not progressing with it. I never like torched totally my bankroll. I'm not a depositor, but I'm just there at the low stakes and
Well,
not really.
if you treat online poker at this point in your life, because right now you're telling me, I think, is that you're not a professional
No.
online poker player.
I don't
You're
make
not
a living
looking at
from it.
this as a major source of income. You're looking for it as like a sport. You want to invest in it because you want to do it because you love it, and then you want to get better at it. And the way that we look at getting better in poker is usually by winning poker tournaments, or our bankroll going up, or our standings and stuff like that. If you don't play for money, and your standing can go up. But all of those things are good things. And until you can dedicate way more time to this game that we love to become better or whatever, don't kill yourself over it. I mean, when you said that you're big, that you can only do 4 screens at once, I was like, well, crap, I can't do more than 2. So don't even worry about that. I would put that part away. You're not in that arena. You're not Katie.
And also another thing, like, not excuse, but like reason, like you can also, like, if anybody ever is like giving you issues about poker or gambling or something like that, like when, like you said, Valerie, your friend was like, oh, I thought you were addicted, I thought you had to, you could just, you can just say something to the effect of, well, like, what you're playing, you're like pretty much guaranteed to lose because you're playing against the house. I prefer to win, so I'm playing poker.
Well, that's what I always say. Like, I will never go to a slot. I will never go. Like you, I really do not like the casino environment. It's depressing. It is an addictive environment. But online poker can also be isolating. I mean, when you're playing tournaments, you're investing many, many hours.
Yeah.
That's my issue now, is for the investment I'm putting in, what is it that I'm getting out,
And it's also for you, it's important, like game selection is important for you too. So like if you're playing, so something that you would need to be concerned about as far as being on a limited bankroll and also just having like limited time, I would be looking for low buy-ins with very good structures.
That's what I do. That's exactly what I do.
Then you're doing it right.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, what I'll tell you is, here in New Jersey, so we have 3 sites, right? We have Stars, WSOP, and Borgata. Without a doubt, and I'm not saying this because I'm a sponsored pro with Borgata, it is a widely known fact, Borgata has the best structures.
Right.
And if you are working on a limited bankroll, you should be playing more on Borgata, even though the guarantees are higher on WSOP, especially like, the Sunday, things like that. When you get to the final table, which is where the biggest pay jumps are,
of course, yes,
it's very shallow. There's just not that much play. And that's where you want the most play, is at the final
Exactly.
table.
Well,
And
it's a short stack. It's an ICM short stack. I understand all that. I mean, I'm
yeah,
decent
I would
enough that I get
yeah,
there.
I would be, and so like here, what I can, I'll share my screen. Let's see, hang on one second.
I haven't played on Party. I played in that first major they had, actually, the $200 buy-in when I first started, and I actually came in ninth there. That was my biggest cash. It was for like $1,900 on there. That was years ago when New Jersey Fit first. And I really haven't played on Party. I play on WSOP mostly for the bigger prize pools,
Yeah.
bigger guarantees when you do get there,
I'm going to, so Valerie, what I'm going to do is I'm going to share my screen so that you guys can see.
You might want to mute her and I.
Okay.
So that you don't pick up anything.
Okay.
And then.
Okay. All right. I'm going to mute you 1 second. Okay. Okay. Can you guys see this? Yeah. Okay. So this is the Borgata Poker lobby. Can I make it bigger? I don't think I can actually. I can't make it bigger. Sorry. So Valerie, so for you, here's what I would be doing. So there's a lot of what you can do is you can sort, by date. A lot of and just for those of you guys who aren't familiar with the schedules, online poker schedules here in New Jersey they generally, like, the bulk of the tournaments start like around 7 o'clock. And so that's where kind of the bigger guarantee tournaments. There are definitely ones that start before that, and then there are ones that go, very, very late into the night. And so it just depends on, how much time you have. But for example, so like right now there's like a $10, $500 guaranteed. Like, this is definitely something that you should be playing on Borgata. Like, starts at 4 o'clock. You might not be able to play at 4 o'clock, but like, this type of tournament for a limited bankroll and as a bankroll builder is amazing. Your ROI in something like this is incredibly large. So, and then like, also the other really great thing, I mean, if you guys have followed me on Twitter or friends with me on Facebook, you'll know that I'm a huge fan of satellites. I'm a huge fan of online satellites. And there's a few reasons why I'm a huge fan of online satellites. Just very briefly, like Lupe was mentioning earlier, Chris Moneymaker, right? Like, that's probably a lot of us are here because he won one poker tournament, or not one, but like because he won a series of poker tournaments that he would not have ever played had he not won his way. And so the opportunity is there, and that's what you're trying to provide. The other really great thing that it does, in addition to bankroll building, is it kind of also more so establishes more of a mid-stakes grind, like a mid-stakes schedule. And the more the more ambitious of a satellite schedule that a site can offer, you're just doing so much for the mid-stakes and the low-stakes players. You're allowing them to take shots at bigger tournaments by winning their way in. You're allowing them to have experience in a bigger buy-in tournament that they generally would not buy directly into. You are giving them the practice in a bigger buy-in tournament that, let's say they, satellite like this, for example, this $5 satellite into the 35, like, these are really amazing satellites. And if you have time to grind like these $5 to $20 tournaments specifically on Borgata, your ROI is going to be great because all of these tournaments are really great structures. And so like even like this one here, this $10 into a 55. This is kind of like the kind of thing that Moneymaker, he played a $55 satellite. This is a 55 into a 535, and that 535 is into the 12K WPT 5 Diamond, which is starting next week in Vegas. And so these are kind of like the steps that also exist on online poker, way more so than live. Live, if you're playing Like at Borgata, they have like $2,700 and $3,500 main events, and they generally will run like $700 single table or 2-table satellites that you can play. Well, $700 is still kind of a lot, you know. Like I'm not buying directly into a $700 tournament. You know what I mean? I'm playing these $55 satellites into the 535s all day long. You know, like I'm absolutely doing that. So yeah, so this is absolutely. I'm not trying to like switch you over from WSOP. I mean, well, I kind of am, but it's in your best interest. I guarantee it would be in your best interest. Plus, if you come over and you're grinding these schedules, then you know you can message me and I can answer lots more questions for you too. Hang on, I'm gonna unmute Lupe. Hey.
Hi.
Hi.
Am I unmuted?
Yeah.
Okay. So one of the things, though, I wanted to reiterate, if we can, is that we are in the United States, so we have some regulated poker rooms.
Yeah.
Like the Borgata poker room, like, you know, WSOP. And then there's those subscription sites that are also regulated under those laws. But I really want to warn people to understand that when they're playing in unregulated online poker sites that aren't the major sites like the Poker Stars or the, you know, or the Party Pokers and stuff like that, that are definitely reputable, you're risking your money.
Yeah.
Always, you're risking your money. So it's better for you not to play online poker unless it's a subscription site, if you aren't in an area where you can play one of these regulated sites for now.
Yeah.
And also, it is also very important that you tell whoever it is that runs your state that you support online poker.
Yeah.
And it would be wonderful at some point, you know, if we could link all the states together again. And then
just so you guys know, like it really does suck that not everybody has the options, but there is a really good option for free poker, and that's the Club WPT. I don't know if you guys, yeah. And I think it's like $20 a month or something. But you win like prizes, like it's not real money, but it's like prizes and leaderboards, and I think they do some sort of thing, but it's really, really, really popular in the states that don't have regulated poker. So that would be my recommendation for the states that don't have online poker. But you know, there was just and I was just looking at some news today. There was just some updated news about Pennsylvania. It is happening. Like regulation is happening. Shared liquidity is coming. I can't like give anybody like a very specific timetable, but I am very excited for 2019. We have a lot of things that are happening. So, so yeah, Lupe, that would be my recommendation for free poker. You know, good platform, good company. You know, that's something that would be good. You know.
we are also scheduled for a 90-minute session here. So I recommend that if anybody has questions for Kate, that you go ahead and get them in there.
Okay, so I have a question from Lisa.
Okay.
I'm gonna mute you and unmute her. Okay.
Can I real quick?
Yeah.
Before you do that, Lisa, I have watched you clean your house, do your laundry, and all that stuff. And when you're done, you can come on over to my house. Just saying. I've been watching her online here. But go ahead.
I had no idea that you guys could see. I was like, thank God I didn't get changed. Holy crap. Oh my God. I'm so.
No, it's good.
Oh my gosh. All right. Well, now I see a mountain, so I don't know what I'm looking at. Katie Stone's screen. All right. I don't see you guys.
I'm sharing my screen. I was just kind of like going through just showing Valerie. I was going to pull up another tournament for her to see. I was telling them about these increased starting stacks. So you guys can like take a look at these structures. I don't know if you can see it, but
Lupe, I'm not coming to do your laundry, but so here's my question, Katie, and please don't take this the wrong way. I don't want anybody to jump down my throat. It's something that I have firsthand seen, and I'm trying to figure it out and have been questioned about it before. Before Black Friday, I was never a big player online, played every once in a while, no big deal. So Now coming into it, I play much more. I'm working on my game. I do a lot more tournaments, but I play a lot of PLO online. There are definitely hands that I see, and don't get me wrong, even playing live, people do some crazy stuff and you're like, are you serious? Really? Did you think you were going to hit that? But there's definitely ways that people bet in PLO or on even in No Limit when we're playing cash. It's like, they want to leave $5 behind, or they're going to click this and get that before we're just getting it all in. And somehow like miracle cards come, because I'll go back to the hand and be like, what were you in there with? You didn't have the flush draw, you didn't have this, you didn't have that. And then, my friends who worked in the algorithm and the math department and things like that are way, way smarter than me, they're always like, you shouldn't trust online. There are things that happen and patterns and blah, blah, blah. And I don't want to believe that. I want to believe that this is a game that I love, and, yes, things happen, but it's not about a betting pattern. It's not about the way you click or the time that's waited or any of these other factors that come in. So tell me
Lisa.
that I have faith.
Lisa,
Yeah.
I play exclusively mixed games live. I very rarely play online. The same crap happens live that it
Without a
does
doubt.
online. These
Without a
people
doubt.
stay in with the most incredibly horrible cards and hit on the river for whatever, and then, felt me or whatever. So that's not exclusive. Bad play and miracle cards are not exclusive to online poker. Just
I
saying. You can
understand
unmute me now.
I, without a doubt, understand
I mean-
that. I have been there.
I mean, yeah, like, okay, here's the thing. This is like, you really like kind of have nailed like probably the major reason why online poker is so beneficial is because like you're when you're just playing live, you have such a small sample size of hands from which to decide if you're running bad or running good. You see what I'm saying? So like in your mind, when you see these crazy people that are just staying in and whatever, like,
I'm listening.
oh, okay.
No, I'm here. I can't. Oh, just 1 second. I'm sorry.
I mean, when you're just like, when you see these like crazy people doing these crazy things, like Lupe said, they're doing them like all the time, but you probably are seeing it a little bit more because you're playing online, because you're seeing so many more hands online, right? So here's why that's good. It's good because it forces you to understand what variance really is. And that's like such a huge issue for poker players, is they think they understand variance and they really, really don't.
Right.
Like, and that's what online helps you do. It helps you way better understand what really running bad. Like, are you on like a 400 buy-in downswing? Like, could you ever experience a 400 buy-in downswing live and continue to play poker?
Right.
Probably not, right? I've been on a 400 buy-in downswing online, meaning like I've lost 400. So like, think about like how many times me and you play together at Borgata. Think about if I went 400 of those without cash. Like
Right.
most people probably wouldn't play poker anymore, right? Because one, they either might not have enough money if they're playing live, right?
Right.
Or two, they'll just think like, oh, I'm like really bad and I suck and I shouldn't, those things, that could also be true, right? But in my scenario, or like any other online poker player who's been playing online poker for, a good amount of time, dude, sometimes 400 buy-in downswings happen and oh well, like you go back to the drawing board and you look at your hand histories and you talk to your coach and you record your session, using a software so that you can, go back and watch what you're doing in real time and you just confirm whether or not you're playing poorly, because if you're playing poorly, then you have a good experience or a good reason for your downswing. Hey, Lupe.
Hey, I just want to, I know you were talking about your poker coaches and stuff,
Mhm.
and not everybody has the extra cash or whatever to do a poker coach.
Sure.
But I know that if you were to get like 2 or 3 girlfriends that play poker and you guys spent, 2 hours a week online together, like in a format like this where you could share,
Sure.
screens and all that kind of stuff, or cameras and stuff like that, and just do hand histories and
Yeah.
talk about the hands that are just leaving you awake at night, because of something that happened.
Yeah.
That is so beneficial. And
Yep.
I'm just real quick going to say, and the only reason I ever learned that lesson is because I was in a room with Brian Rast, uh, Andrew Roble, Keith Gibson, Antonio Esfandieri, I can't remember who the 5th person was, and me. And we were in there. These are the people who play at the nosebleed sessions. So much money, it's disgusting. I sat and watched Andrew Roll playing $10,000, $10,000, $20,000 heads up matches. Okay, and we're talking disgusting money. I was having heart palpitations. But my point is this. Those people sat there and analyzed for 2 hours one hand,
Yeah.
talking amongst themselves about, the variables and this and that, and then they stripped that sucker apart and then brought it back together again and made decisions about the best way to have played something.
Yeah.
So everybody can benefit from that. If whether we're at this level, I call myself a recreational player, but if I really am stuck on something, it does not hurt to bounce it off to somebody else who also plays the game without having to pay for it. Just saying.
Yeah, sure. And that's also just like, that's a great point, Lupe, too, is like, I'm a huge, I like to focus, some people like to focus on the gamble and the fun in poker. I like to focus on the transitional benefits in poker. And like getting together with a few of your friends and going over hand histories is like such a productive cognitive experience for your mind, like it's so healthy to do these things because not only are you improving your game, but you're also kind of like able to see things from different vantage points. And especially when it's online, like you have hand history reviews and you can actually see the stats and everything, you just can understand things a lot clearer. And it's also, what it's also doing is it's also training your brain to think about these situations a lot faster too. So that's the other benefit of online poker is just like anything, like I've watched my 3-year-old son, has been learning his ABCs, and I've watched the progression from the speed that he does his ABCs. So like it started out very, very slowly singing his ABCs, and now it's like he does it like really fast, to impress me, to show me like how fast he can do it, but that's kind of what you're doing at the same time, is you're just training your brain to look at these situations and just be able to really like analyze them a lot faster, which is so good for your live game. That's the thing. Like when you were saying like, oh, Valerie, you're saying like, oh, now I don't know how to do live. No, dude, like you should be so amazing live after coming online, because you've seen so many more of these situations and hands than your opponents have. And so you just have such an edge because you understand the situation so much better than they do, So Lisa, getting back to your point about the you nailed, like the huge reason why online poker is so helpful for live is because you really truly understand, what run bad is or what run good is, or like, how many times have you and I been at the poker table and this guy who sits next to us will be like, my ace king lost to ace jack the last 4 times I played it.
Right.
And you just have to be like, I'm so sorry.
Right.
Whereas like, that could happen 100 times in a row and it's still okay.
Right.
Like it's still normal.
Right.
And that's what online poker teaches us. It teaches us that you should expect to lose, like you're going to lose the majority of the time.
But do you feel that the people, because that there are people that are still going to be hesitant or are still hesitant about playing online.
Sure.
They're, you've got the people that are saying about patterns, and you've got people that say, oh, people are playing together and I don't trust this and I don't trust that. And I want our community to build more. I want as many people in New Jersey playing online as we possibly can. So when you come up against somebody who says, listen, I don't trust online, what do you feel is the best thing to say to them to reassure them? Like, hey, you know, online is all good. It's all everything, you know, you should have faith in it. You know, being a secure site obviously is one thing, but the fact that people aren't trusting the technology of it, or the fact that they're worried that people are playing together, just to kind of reassure them, what do you think is the best way to go at it?
Well, I mean, as much as I, you know, I don't like to hear when people say that they have this distrust, but it's very simple. You know, I say to them, yeah, sure, I understand why you feel like that, but you know, now it's governed by the casinos, you know, and these are the largest casino companies in the world, right? Like MGM is the largest casino company in the world. They are running things now. So it's a very different time from when it was unregulated, you know, everything was just like offshore, whatever, blah, blah, blah. Right. And then Black Friday happened, but now and you know, there's not, I mean, casinos have a pretty good reputation for like gaming integrity, right? Like they have to. Right. So that's honestly really like all I ever have to say is like, now it's run by MGM or now it's run by Caesars. You know, that's kind of like this, they've figured out how to tax it. They figured out how to get the revenue from it.
Right.
You know what I mean? So that's like, there's just no worry as far as the, and then just even expanding on that, as far as the software, like how are you making sure that people aren't polluting or, it's actually the New Jersey and the regulated software is actually, in my opinion, more secure than like the ROW software because, for example, here in New Jersey, so like even this software that I'm running right now, Zoom, I'm actually surprised that I'm still logged in. Oh, maybe because I'm not running it. That's why. If I was hosting Zoom right now, if I was hosting you guys, Borgata would not open. So like if I had originated Zoom from my computer, Lupe, and like I was, you know, Borgata would not open because they think that could possibly be like a collusion type thing, you know? Whereas like if you're in another country, you can, you know, whatever, they don't have those restrictions, you know? Even some people use TeamViewer for like meetings and stuff like that.
Right.
You cannot have TeamViewer anywhere near New Jersey sites or anything. You have to you don't have to take it off your computer, but sometimes when you open your computer, it'll run in the background, even though you're not using TeamViewer, you're not even logged in, but it's like running. Regulated sites won't even open for you. So it's way more secure than the ROW sites. Yeah. Cause now you're up against MGM, you're up against Caesars. Those are big guys, you know, they want to, you know, protect the funds.
Okay.
So,
well, thank you. I appreciate it. Can I just say one thing? Cause I do have to go get ready.
Yeah.
I don't know who's all on here, but I just hope everybody realizes you giving of your time and doing this is such a huge, huge advantage to women in poker. Yeah. And I really appreciate it. And I hope, you know, I hope everybody knows that you giving of your time personally to do this and Lupe helping, like all of this is just great that you women are doing it. And I really appreciate it.
Well, thanks. I'm glad that you were able to come. And yeah, I hope you guys find some of it helpful because I know that, I mean, especially today, like it's a little bit daunting, you know, because it's like what's legal, what's regulated, what's not, you know, and things are changing a lot. So yeah, I mean, anytime I can, you know, come and answer any questions for you guys because all this does is help everybody get better, you know. Exactly. That's all this does is it helps women get better, and then, you know, there's less of a barrier of entry because if they can start online, they can start lower stakes and they can play this, you know, whatever this is, this $10 PLO tournament right here, and they have a good experience, you know, then maybe they go and they play a live tournament and then they have a good experience there, or whatever they want to do. But this is what they to do it, you know? So this is, yeah, so.
Awesome.
Great. I have, okay, Valerie, did you want to, I'll unmute you, Valerie. Hey.
Oh, no, I just to
Okay.
reiterate what the other lady said. Thank you.
Right.
Just having a little bit of contact with other women who are playing, it's good for me. I mean, as I said, I don't really post on the forums.
Yep.
I'm trying to get better sort of on my own. And so just having the contact is a good thing for me.
Yeah. So let me share with you guys, so continuing on what Valerie was saying about improving, I wanted to share a few websites with you guys that probably could help you. So one of the websites in particular, and this is not, I should actually put this over here for a second. One of them is 2+2. So 2+2 forums, I'm not sure if you guys have ever been to 2+2. 2+2 is probably the longest running English speaking online poker forum out there. It used to be way, way, way more active back in the day, pre-Black Friday. And unfortunately, I mean, this is, you know, just happened obviously everywhere, not just to this forum, but for every online forum out there. But it's still a very, very good source of information. And you can see, like, on the left here, there's different, you know, categories. You can, you know, whatever it is that you want to read about. But there's a lot of good strategy here. There's a lot of good, and it's people posting that are playing these games currently. So, you know, just like anything on any online forum, you're not believing everything you're reading. But in general, you can kind of understand how people are thinking about the game and, you know, what people are doing in certain situations. And then you can kind of contrast that to, you know, your own, you know, what you're thinking in your own game. I really, really, really encourage, and I have the forum that I have up here is That's What She Said. That this is the ladies forum on 2+2. I actually founded this sub forum of 2+2 back in 2011, and I'm a moderator as well. This is me right here. This is not so much of a strategy forum. That's What She Said. It's more so just for a women's safe environment, because, you know, all online forums, there's trolls and everything, but within the women's forum, it's extremely strictly moderated. And so anything remotely derogatory or offensive or trollish is just immediately removed, which is not how everything works in the other sections of the site. So just be aware of that. But I really, really encourage you guys to take a look at 2+2, because there's a lot of content on here, and even just old content, just kind of looking through and familiarizing yourself with, you know, what people are doing. And it's something you can do on your own time. You don't have to, you know, you don't have to pay for it or anything like that. And just, it's just a good way. You don't have to post. I mean, most people don't post. They just kind of browse. But yeah, I would definitely, and there's also, there's a live section in here too somewhere. They recently moved these menus around a little bit. Let's see. Live poker. Yeah. So then there's also, like, you know, for like upcoming festivals and stuff. Another really good website for you guys is Hendon Mob. And Hendon Mob is good for live events. So if you want to see, like, the different live series in your area, or if you're going somewhere or whatever, this is a very good resource. And they have, like, articles and rankings and stuff like that. But it's just a useful informational site. Another one is Pocket Fives. Pocket Fives is a really useful website. They have specific New Jersey, they have specific New Jersey things, but they also have ROW things too. So, like, right now we're looking at ROW, which is, you know, rest of world, which is Canada and, you know, everybody on the other side of the ocean. And then if you click on New Jersey, it's specifically about, hang on one second. Sorry. It's specifically about New Jersey. Sorry, my husband is trying to return a laptop to Best Buy, and he cannot figure out how to do that. So let's see. So New Jersey is just because we have regulated poker here, and then there's, I think Nevada is in here somewhere too, but I don't know, I guess it's not. But then there's also like this is also like a different forum community, and then there's different topics, like, there's staking, there's also different articles. It's a very, very useful site to kind of stay up on, what's going on in online poker and also live poker. They have really good writers. They have generally some bonus codes if you're creating new accounts. But yeah, just a very, very useful website. Another website that's really useful is Sharkscope, and this is something that I think you can do like five free searches per day, I think. And then if you pay, it's like you can get, like 2 free searches. I'm actually a member, but I can, so like, and the kind of thing, this kind of thing works. So like if you do have to opt in to see your results, but this is a good tool to understand like how much money have I made in the past year playing, specific tournaments. So like I'll type in my WSOP screen name. So what this does is it kind of shows you like, it shows you how many games it's tracked. For some reason, this doesn't seem like this is full tracking. Yeah, so for some reason, this is only like a 2-year period. I'm not really sure why this stops at July of this year. Yeah, I'll have to email them about that. But this is just a good. It'll usually be up to date. But this is a good. Let me check. Maybe I'll check my husband just to see. Maybe it's something about the. No, it is current. Okay, I'm not really sure. But it's just good because it tells you like tournaments, like what tournaments, your statistics, like, your average ROI, your profit, your ability achievement points, whatever, how many, and this is a good, like when we were talking to Lisa earlier about, why online poker is so valuable for live, because it just teaches us what, expectancy really is in all forms. And these are hard numbers. These are good numbers for you to understand. It takes a little bit of, like you might not exactly know, like, 40% middle finish, like, is that good or is that bad? Or like 16% middle to late. I mean, I think I think they're probably okay. In the money, 22%. I think that's probably good. Average ROI, 64.8%. That's pretty high. I think that's a little high. So that's maybe just, on the higher end of my variance right now. I might be running a little okay at this point in the year. But that's the other thing too, is that, like the way I look at this chart is, like in general, it's a good upward trend. However, I do realize it is going to go down, and that's what is so valuable about what it teaches us, is that you look at this graph, and this is a very normal graph. This is what you would expect. You would expect to be winning and losing this much, whereas somebody who's just playing live isn't, number one, going to be able to probably play this much, live in an amount of time that's going to give, enable them to understand what's really normal and what's really within the realm of expectancy for them. So this is a good website. Also, like if you're playing online a lot and you want to kind of scope out your opponents, and like, especially if you're at a big final table or something and you want to try to like, understand who the players are, I would definitely suggest, typing them in, doing a quick Google search, the name and then Pocket Fives, or the name and then Sharkscope, and you can kind of just see. So like, next time, so if you see somebody, if you have, somebody like my husband at your table and you look at this graph, it's a pretty impressive graph. So that can tell you something. Whereas, however, let's see, graphs can be deceiving though. So I think I looked at this the other day. Speaking about this, this is my PokerStars. Oh, wait, hang on. I gotta log in. 1 second. Hang on. Let's see. Okay, so let's do, this is look at my PokerStars graph. This is just this year here in New Jersey. So this is, oh no, this is not. So wait, this is the past year. Let's see. Yeah, it looks like it looks like it started right when I started playing online full time again, because I was, my son was born in 15 and I nursed him for 2 years. So I didn't work. I was like on maternity leave for 2 years and just my husband was playing online. So it looks like this is right around the time that I started playing full time again. So right here. So May of 17, which is game number 57. And we're at game number 838 with a negative of 12K, which is, that's not great. That's a 11K swing over, over 800 games, but still, that kind of sucks. So graphs can be deceiving because if you see, this player, and this also definitely speaks to like structures too. What is it about the, am I playing more turbos on PokerStars? So your turbo ROI generally is going to be lower than your regular tournament speed ROI because there's less play and it's just, you have to run well, more flips, right? So PokerStars does have a lot more turbos too than all the other sites. So that could definitely be a reason why a lot of these buy-ins are turbo buy-ins. So, and this is what's so useful about these tools is these, and like a tracker can tell you these things too. So like something like Poker Tracker is a very, very useful software. Hang on 1 second. Lupe, hi.
Hi. I just wanted to let everybody know we've got a little over 5 minutes. So if you have any questions, you guys really need to pop in on those and wave your hand or pop it into the chat. And also for you, Katie, if there's anything really important that you wanted to share with us.
Sure. Yeah. So Poker Tracker is a good software for you guys to familiarize yourself if you're playing online. It's a good way you can look at hand histories and stats, and it can tell you how you do in certain buy-in levels tournaments. It can tell you what your, how much you've won in the past, whatever. So these are just more reasons why online poker there's way more tools at your disposal for you to, hi Lupe.
Hi, so are you saying that tracks every player online, or they have to register so that it'll be tracked?
So for Poker Tracker?
Yeah.
No, Poker Tracker is a HUD software. So this is what shows up. So this is like the little display that is beneath every player's name when I play online. This is not everybody has to have this. This is just something that I choose to have. And most full-time online players are playing with a HUD. It tracks you and the hands that you're playing, and yes, you do get hand histories for the other players. So for example, if you're playing at a table, in New Jersey, you've probably played with a lot of these players before, so you'll have like 10,000 hands on somebody because you've been playing with them a lot. It's a smaller player pool. Whereas in larger liquidity player pools, you might on average have 500 hands on somebody because you're just not seeing them as much because it's 3,000 players in the prize pool versus 300. So in New Jersey and Nevada, you definitely develop a much larger hand history library on specific players. And this is just software that's just very helpful to help you understand where you're profitable, where you're not profitable. And these are all things that working on this, that's what's so great. Working on all of this stuff makes your live game just infinitely better. Not just because you're learning all these really great skills and you're learning how to understand these graphs and how to interpret what the numbers mean. You're just doing like such great fundamental work for your game overall. You're gaining such confidence too, you know, like when you go and sit down at the live table, even though there are 90% men in the room, guess what? If you're doing all this work and playing online and study at home, you're probably better than most of them because a lot of them have never done this before. So you can have that feeling and that confidence that really is just kind of like, okay, like, yeah, I might be the only female in the room, but I just did, you know, a 2-hour session, you know, looking at my hands and I figured out a few leaks. And like, I know for a fact that guy didn't do that 2 hours ago, you know, like that kind of thing. So it just gives you the confidence to really, to be comfortable enough to play the game that you want to play. Mm-hmm. So yeah, so if anybody has any questions, I'm more than happy to answer any questions via DM. My Twitter is @KatieStonePoker, and you can always find me on Facebook, Katie Stone Cappuccio. But you guys are more than welcome to ask me any questions or continue the conversation. And
when you first got married, is it Katie Stone Cappuccino?
And yes, I did meet my husband through online poker. Our form of online dating.
Yeah.
So, well, thank you guys so much. Hey, Sally, I didn't even get to say hi to you. Hi, Sally.
Thank you for my poker face.
Sorry.
Thank you for my poker face. I was supposed to be in Cherokee this weekend.
Oh.
But my 92-year-old mother-in-law decided to play a visit.
Oh, boy.
So she's here. So I'm cooking for her instead.
Well, good. Well, that means you were able to join us. That was cool. So.
Pull out a deck of cards.
It was so nice to be able to join.
Yeah, that's wonderful. Well, thank you so very much, Katie. We really appreciate that you've volunteered your time to come out and help us with our online game and give us more insight as to the online experience and what it's like to be a mom and a wife and running a household and playing and grinding for a living. That's pretty incredible. I also wanted to make sure that everybody understands that you can see any of these videos that we're making at WPA.poker. It's not WPApoker.com, it's WPA.poker. We also have a Facebook page, Women's Poker Association, for members, and then we have the open one that's a group, and that's the Women's Poker Association. So you just do a search and you can find us. Please, if you have any feedback about this or any other things that you might want to see us touch on, feel free to drop me a note. I'm at lupe@wpa.poker, or you can PM me on Facebook, or I'm at PokerLupe on Twitter. And I just want to say thank you again, and I hope everybody learned a little something today. I know I definitely did, and encourage your friends to participate in some of these things because they are gems and they are online for those that didn't get to visit with us. The recording will be up tomorrow at WPA.poker. Oh, I know I was going to say we're completely revamping our website. Hopefully by the end of this month it'll be live, and we're launching a really spectacular, it's on a soft launch right now, global, like a PSA kind of thing. We're trying to encourage more women to play, and we understand that there's a barrier for some people in that they don't really appreciate some of the challenges that you might experience at the poker table through inappropriate conversations or behaviors. So we're asking the global community of poker players to raise the respect level. It's called Raise It Up. It's #RaiseItUp. And that's to raise the respect and to raise the fun, which we will hope will then raise the growth in poker. So look for that campaign, and there's a way that you can go your free patches and all that good stuff, and you'll be, just look out for that announcement. It's coming up soon. Okay. I wish everybody a fantastic holiday season and the end of 2018, and we'll see you in 2019. Thanks so much.
See you guys.
Bye.